Welcome to Green Drinks. This is the special holiday edition with Giving Beyond the Box and Green Tenderfoot sharing their super professional and extra helpful tips for how to be socially responsible and environmentally friendly these holidays. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to our speakers to introduce themselves. Sandra, could you tell us who you are and a little bit about your work?
Sure, I'm Sandra Enos. I'm the founder and CEO of Giving Beyond the Box, a company that curates boxes that feature items that make social impact. And I'm not drinking anything, but I do have a whole cup full of sea glass that I've been collecting at low tide at Narragansett Beach. So you could drink out of it, I guess, if you wanted to. But in any case, that's what I'm drinking. But I did order a beer. I don't know if it's going to get here or not.
Fingers crossed.
Exactly.
And Anna.
Hi everyone, I'm Anna. I am drinking water, but I do have a wine bottle right next to me, so maybe I might pour myself some wine. And I'm the founder of Green Tenderfoot and the co-founder of the Heal Room. And Green Tenderfoot started off as a pop-up refill station for bath, body, and cleaning products, and also zero waste products that help people eliminate their plastic use.
So let's jump right into the roundtable discussion. For both of you, or whoever wants to go first, what brought you to your work and what's most exciting about it?
I can start off. So basically what brought me to start a refill station was my journey of living in Los Angeles. I moved to Los Angeles in 2018 and I lived there for 2 years. And I worked for a nonprofit where we learned a lot about social justices. So after being exposed to this new realm, I wanted to begin to recycle more. And so with that, I learned that recycling is not really the answer. So through social media and my own research, I learned about sustainability and a zero waste lifestyle. Also, I don't know if you guys hear my boiler. No? Okay, good, because it's like super loud, but if that's distracting, let me know, or if you can't hear me, let me know. So when I was doing my own research on sustainability, I learned about zero waste and living a low waste lifestyle. And in Los Angeles, it was super accessible to shop low waste. When I tell you like my grocery shopping was completely zero waste, it was completely zero waste. Everything from cereal to like pet food, snacks, everything was available in bulk in Los Angeles. And I also would go to a shop that offered shampoo and conditioner and all my bath, body, and cleaning products in bulk. So living a sustainable lifestyle was super accessible in Los Angeles. So I started a blog called Green Tenderfoot. And in my blog, I kind of just shared my journey to living a sustainable lifestyle, like how it worked. I wanted to expose my friends and my family who like never really been exposed to this lifestyle through my social media. So then when I was moving back to Rhode Island, I actually started making some of my own products. So I made deodorant and lip balm. And I made things that didn't really work out too well, like toothpaste. It was not good. I hated brushing my teeth, but I was like, in the name of sustainability, I'm gonna use this baking soda toothpaste. But luckily the deodorant was super successful. I used it for about a year and I'm like, I started giving it to my friends and my family. And one of my friends who like is more entrepreneurship mindset was like, why don't you sell these to people? And I was like, well, I don't know if people are gonna like it, because I would make it in a jar and it was super different and unconventional. But you know what? I gave it a shot on Green Tenderfoot, which was just a blog. I announced that I was going to start selling the deodorants, and a lot of people, to my surprise, were super interested in it. So then that kind of like got the ball rolling for entrepreneurship for me. Just because with the deodorant, I was able to educate people about, like toxic chemicals in their conventional deodorant and why it was better to switch to a deodorant in a glass jar versus the one in the regular plastic container. So that kind of got the ball rolling in the entrepreneurship. And then when I moved back to Rhode Island, I saw how inaccessible it was to be low waste or sustainable. You know, there really wasn't any options for bulk shopping here. So I took the risk. I took out a loan, and I was like, you know what? Let me just start doing pop-ups and see who's really interested in this. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where I got started. And now we have a shop that just opened up on Sunday in Pawtucket, and I guess people loved it.
That's a great lead-in. Can you tell us about the Heel Room?
Yeah, so the Heel Room is basically, so Green Tenderfoot was originally the company that I started. And then the Heel Room is a collaboration between, I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with Karen Mejias, the owner of Mindful Maya. She couldn't be here today, but we have been longtime friends since high school. We played on the same volleyball team together, and we both happened to live in California at the same time. And being in the West Coast, we were both kind of inspired in different ways. Mine was more towards sustainability and low waste, and her inspiration was more towards wellness and healing. So when I started Green Tenderfoot, I really looked at Karen as a role model and asked her a lot of advice. And actually, Karen was the person who pointed me to SEG. So we always wanted to collaborate because we saw that I was passionate about what she was working on, and she was passionate about what I was working on. So we wanted to have a space together, and we had been looking for a space together for a while, but it just wasn't in the books. Everything was super expensive. It just didn't work for our budget, and I had found a space to have Green Tenderfoot for a while, and I got a little comfortable and stopped looking. But eventually we found the space that we're in now, and it was affordable. So we're like, you know what, let's just go for it. And we just met up and we talked about opening something together, and we named it the Heel Room. So the Heel Room is both a sustainable and a wellness shop that aims to heal people and the planet. And when you walk in, you'll find options for sustainability. You'll find options, refill station options, but you'll also find things like Karen's ginger shot bottles, crystals, bulk herbs. So we have a little mix of both in there.
Sandra, could you share what brought you to begin giving Beyond the Box?
Sure. So, I started this whole thing, relatively late in life, and I became interested and introduced to social entrepreneurship about 10 years ago when I was teaching a class with a Brown professor at the Rhode Island Foundation. We had a class that included students from almost every university campus. It was a course on philanthropy, and one of the innovations was social entrepreneurship. So I was really interested in that. And then when I went to teach at Bryan, we developed a concentration in social entrepreneurship. And as part of that, we used to do these pop-up markets during the holidays, where I would invite local social enterprises to come in with their products. And, basically, instead of getting your dad a tie, you can get him a great apron from River's Edge. And we did spectacularly well at those holiday events. Last time we did one, it was in 2018, I think it was. We had 18 vendors and we sold $8,000 worth of goods, like in 4 hours. And we took it across the street and we did as well. So understanding that, I kept thinking, well, people are interested in these products if they're easy to get, and you had the opportunity in these pop-ups to introduce a lot of consumers to the whole area of social impact buying and purchasing. And I thought, well, I was just intrigued by how well we did. And I thought, when I retired, what would I do? Would I just keep running these pop-up markets, or how could I create a bridge between consumers that might be interested in purposeful giving and the people who have these products? How could I educate consumers and put them in contact with these products? So then I came up with this idea of a box, we put them in, you have a number of products and you try to sell the products as primarily, at least, with the point of giving, using the giving occasion to buy a purposeful gift. So we launched last November. We did well in our first season. The world changed, as everybody noticed. So we've been, sort of pivoting, this calendar year. And in October, we launched Hope Strikes Back, which is a box full of products of Rhode Island-based businesses of color. Anna's products are in that box. We sold out of our first 50. We just sold out of our second 50, well, 80 actually. So those boxes went really well. And this holiday season, we've got holiday boxes, we've got Rhode Island boxes. And once again, we've had a wonderful season. We're completely, sold out. I mean, I have some inventory and we're still boxing and packaging. And I think, I've sort of it seems to me that I've broken out of like people who buy the boxes because they know me and they like me, like all those people. And I'm finally selling boxes to strangers. It's like it's just so amazing. And then a stranger will tell somebody else. So now we're sort of, doing, word of mouth. So, it was the last thing I've ever imagined myself doing as a sociology professor, but clearly it's the best job I've ever had and the only job I really do well so far. So far.
For both of you, what are you most excited about with your businesses this season, this year, for the holidays, etc.?
Want to start again, Anna? You're really good at starting.
Sure. So I think I'm just very excited that we're opened before Christmas, just because we have a lot of options that are also local. We have a lot of sustainable gifts that you can give out. And we have a lot of, if you're in like starting, a new type of healing realm, we have a lot of new choices that you can give people, like crystals and herbs. But there is one specific product that I'm very excited about. It's so random, but like it just made me so happy. But it's this filter called, hold on, I wrote it down somewhere. It's called the Go Pure Pod. And I'm super excited about it because it's kind of like a Brita, but it's tiny, and you can drop it in water, in like a water bottle. You can drop it in, if you have a big jug at home of water, and it filters out your water, and it lasts 6 months. So that's when you replace it. And the reason why I'm so excited about this is because I know so many people who don't have access to clean water, especially in Pawtucket and Providence. People don't really trust drinking water from the faucet. So they end up just buying water bottles. And to me, it was like mind blowing that so many people still buy water bottles, but their excuse is always like, oh, I don't trust the water from my faucet. So I like searched so much for something that I can be like, well, try this. A lot of people would say, oh, I don't have room for Brita, and it's big, it's annoying, like just excuses. But now it's like, you have no excuse. Stop buying bottled water, stop supporting these horrible corporations that make bottled water, and buy something that's sustainable and it's going to last and it's affordable. So that's one of the products that I'm like so psyched about. But yeah, with that, I pass it to you, Sandra.
Yeah, I think for this holiday season, it's been really wonderful for me to, have the chance, because people are giving gifts, to just like every day I'm writing out a nice note, to my boss or to my employees or to my sister who's been my rock. Or so like every day I write all these lovely messages, from people. it just shows you the love and the connections. And I think of all holidays, of all the years to be able to give a product that gives back to the community, people really, really love that message, especially this year. So, I've been very excited to be able to help people find that perfect gift for somebody who's been like so good to them, during this particular season. So that's made me really, really happy. And the weird part of like, you know, writing letters, there was a nice note that a mom was sending her daughter, and I knew the mom like and the daughter, and I so wanted to put PS, for the daughter, your mom so worries about you. Why don't you call her? Just call her like once a week. Would it hurt you? I mean, really, just give her a call. Like all these like over the shoulder snarky comments by me. Oh, I'm, like grandmothers and grandkids, please send your grandma a thank you card. Come on, So I have to be really careful. I just like put down what they say and I don't embellish it in any way. But that's been great. Having that opportunity this holiday season has made me really excited to have this company, at this moment.
That's so lovely. It's such a nice year, I think, for both of you to be spreading a little bit of good and gratitude and joy. So thank you both.
I think, can I just add a comment too about honest business? What I really like about what she does as well is focusing, her work on communities of color, right? So zero waste is not just for the people on the East Side. Zero waste and healing is focusing on a whole different community, than is usually reached. And I really love that about what she's doing.
So for both of you, in your own lives and through your work, what tips would you share with someone just starting to think a little differently about their purchasing habits or their using habits to be a little less wasteful or a little bit more responsible? Where would you start?
For the holidays or just in general?
Let's start with the holidays.
All right, so I would say that one, zero waste is not perfect. Like sadly we live in a world where there's so much plastic that trying to be zero waste for the holidays will definitely be overwhelming, and because the holidays are already a little bit overwhelming for a lot of people, so just adding that perfectionist mindset will definitely like make the anxiety much worse. So with that, there are things that you can do to reduce your waste during the holidays, and one of them is definitely normalizing, and I saw this today on TikTok, I think, normalizing regifting, because so many people are like feel weird about giving away a gift that they already had, or sometimes people give you gifts that you just don't want, especially like I try not to buy things that I don't need. I just buy things that I do need, and like sometimes a random coworker will give me like a Victoria's Secret spray and I'm like, I don't want to use this because I don't like the smell. But obviously I'm not going to tell them that, but I can regift that. And I think that there's absolutely nothing wrong with that and normalizing. Sorry about that. My sister's calling me. And normalizing regifting will definitely, eliminate a lot of waste, because now you don't have to go buy something, or now you don't have to throw this item that you don't want out. Another thing would definitely be packaging. So a lot of us have, well, especially me, I buy my toilet paper, like I buy Who Gives a Crap. I don't know if any of you have heard it, but I know Tess has. But it's the way that they wrap their toilet paper that can be used to wrap gifts, or you can use magazines or newspaper. That's the word I was looking for. You can use newspapers to wrap gifts. It doesn't have to look beautiful. It's gonna get shredded anyways. So definitely like starting there could be helpful. And lastly, I would say buying from small businesses, or one thing that I like to do for Christmas is give the people that I love experiences rather than things. Um, for my little cousins, I normally, buy them passes to Chuck E. Cheese, and then I take them, or just something that doesn't really require you buying something that's probably going to get thrown away, or that's just going to get pushed to a corner and forgotten. So that's kind of my tips on how to like be a little bit more eco-friendly, or keep the holidays low waste. um,
Hmm.
I don't know if I missed something, but if I did, Sandra.
So, we have a Christmas tree, but every year it's an inverted tomato cage. So you just take the frame, you flip it upside down, and you put lights around it, and it's really nice. It's a beautiful shape. And then we take the lights off and we put it in the garden. And so I love a real tree, but we haven't had a real tree in a long time since I invented the tomato cage Christmas tree. So, and it's a hoot. It's just funny to look at. And this year I've decorated it with products from the Giving Beyond the Box, the big Giving Beyond the Box boxes. So it's got aprons on it, and Solita soap, and tea, and socks, and lanterns. It's completely insane. But it's fun. And I would echo a lot of what Anna said here too. And I think, for us, we try to be careful in the packaging. We try to be careful about the companies we support, of course, in the boxes. When I think the tips to, I think sometimes the biggest breakthrough is just have people start thinking about, who is involved in making these products? Where does my coffee come from? And once you start along that line, you can either go a short distance, or you can really go a long distance in terms of, trying to live a more conscious lifestyle, right? Because every decision we make, everything we consume has an impact on somebody, has a lot of impacts. It's just hard for us, I think, in our consumerist society, remind ourselves that that's the case. So, and I completely agree on it too, in terms of, small businesses, and, avoiding Amazon, whenever you can. I made a little mock-up of a box that's called Pandora's box, and it's got the Amazon swoop on it. It's like when you open the box, you destroy neighborhoods, you exploit workers. So forget the Pandora's box by Giving Beyond the Box. Just to kind of, once again, it's sort of like a shocking comparison about, because it's really true. I mean, the kind of trouble you get into ethically, I think, when you purchase stuff from Amazon, it's got huge implications. So I think that's a message we're trying to get across a little bit.
And definitely, like with what you just said, Sandra, like sustainability is, and this was something that I learned in my journey. But when I first wanted to just completely just eliminate plastic from my life, it was more of like, oh, I don't want to buy anything that's plastic, and I want to be zero waste, and I want to fit all my trash in a jar. But sustainability is definitely just being more conscious of what you're purchasing, and like along the way you're going to be supporting businesses that care about the environment. So it's not all about just eliminating the plastic, but also just supporting those, being mindful of who you're supporting, and how ethical these companies or
Right.
who you're purchasing from.
Right. How they treat their workers. There's so many questions that I think we should demand of the people who are trying to sell us things.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I know from my own experience of falling into the zero waste and that whole bucket world of things, that you can get totally obsessive and lost in it, and it can be totally overwhelming. So both of you in your roles, I would say, have probably become sourcing experts. So for someone who doesn't have the ability right now, or gets overwhelmed by falling too far into the rabbit hole, what kind of easy tips, things to look for, filters do you guys use when you're first finding a product? Or
I'd say definitely like if you're buying from a bigger company, like I definitely transparency on the company's end. I think if a company is worth or like they believe in their product and they believe in their ethics, that they're going to like scream it at the top of their lungs all over their website. So that's like my number one thing that I look for, like, oh, how transparent is this company? But when it comes to like curating or like sourcing, I don't know if normal people are gonna do this, but I always have conversation with, whoever is either running the company or whoever is in their like contact me. So I think like building a relationship with the people that you're sourcing from, like you can just tell once you build a relationship, like, oh, I'm talking to a robot, or like Amazon, you're talking to random people, like you're not talking to Jeff Bezos himself. But I know if I'm gonna go buy like from Sandra, like her Instagram shows, she's the person that I'm gonna be talking to on the phone directly. So I think it's just a matter of one, supporting small business, because for sure, I mean, small business, there you can't go wrong with that. You're supporting somebody's dream, like you're buying from a small business. I don't know, you're just buying from a small business. And then if it's a bigger company where it's not a small business and you might not have another choice, then definitely like transparency on their end.
Sandra, how about you? What are the first things you look for?
Yeah, I agree with Anna. The transparency is really important. And I think we just need better labeling and better certification systems to make this a little simpler for people. I know like there's a whole bunch of stocks these days, which is impact investing and ESGs and like ratings, and then there's B Corp, and but I think for the regular consumer, it's like really hard like to figure out, is this a legit company? They say that some of their profits go to like cleaning up the environment. Like how much is that? Is that like 50 cents? Is it 1 cent? And it's hard. It takes a long time to dig that out. And I think sometimes even when companies are trying to be transparent, it may not meet everybody's criteria. So that's important. And this whole business of social impact products has gotten so big. I mean, there's so many companies now. There's Little Market, there's Earth Hero, there's just a lot of Frontier, that puts together and sources products. And so that saves you a little bit of time, but still at the end of the day, to try to figure out what's going to be in a box is complicated, unless, as Anna said, the provider is right in town, Solita Soap or Black Leaf Tea or another provider. That makes things a little easier. But yeah, there's a lot. It's a lot to try to vet the product. No question.
Yeah, I think you definitely have to like care to want to find out. Like, Sandra said, like you can't just look at a package and see like if the company's doing the right thing. So there are some apps that show you if the chocolate you're buying is sourced ethically, or it's palm oil free and things like that. There's definitely like resources out there that can help you, but you have to be willing to do the research.
Yeah.
Or purchase from one of you guys who've already done it.
There you go.
All right, I have 2 other questions. The first one is, in both of your work, what has been the most challenging thing to overcome, and how have you addressed it?
I think, as I said initially, to try to, well, one thing I find is that being a soul shop, and I'm so jealous that Anna has a partner that she loves and excited about working with. But I have found like what the most challenging thing I have is just having a business that looks more complicated than it is in terms of the products and the assembly and the delivery and the marketing and like managing all of that. So to me, what's really challenging is just keeping the boat moving, just trying to do everything that I should be doing and understanding like half of what I should be doing, I'm not going to get to today anyway. So just wearing so many hats and, changing the hats so often. I think that, and then as a small business, just trying to be creative about getting the word out, especially during the pandemic. Like, how am I going to move all this product? Last year was so easy because there were pop-ups, there was the launch. You get to meet people who are already be like pre-sold. This year, like not so much. So trying to be creative about that, pivoting about that has been challenging. I think, we had, some breakthroughs this holiday season, which I'm really excited about. But, some of those happen very, very randomly, like, very random.
That's exactly what I was gonna say, but I'm like, I don't know. But definitely like doing it alone for a year was very challenging for me. Like Sandra was saying, like you have to wear many hats, and when you don't know anything about entrepreneurship or how to how to sustain a business, it can get a little overwhelming. And definitely like having a job as well can become very demanding, because it's like I'm working full time to like for two different things. So I had no time for self-care really. But I think, one, I was lucky to find a partner. So that definitely like balances things out a little bit better. And I asked my job if I can work part-time, and, they agreed to that. So now I have more time to, I feel like I don't have more time, but I should have more time to self-care, to add that to my schedule so that, I can be a human and still run a business and have and work. But it's getting there. I think entrepreneurship is a journey, and eventually we'll get to a point where it becomes a routine. I know things are going to fluctuate all the time. It's not always going to stay stagnant, but once we get like a great routine going, then I think I'm going to feel a little bit more normal.
So beyond just being consumers of your products, how can we as individuals, but also the collective we as organizations and other social enterprises, support the two of you and bolster your work?
I've said this before in public places, and I do believe it. The more I think about it, is that I think entrepreneurs like Anna and myself need to sort of get together with other people who are in the same place and do like mutual marketing, like some sort of, I think I've called it the chamber of purpose, to sort of like get together, and like to sort of have the entrepreneurs, and then also in this loosely held organization, have like conscientious consumers, people who want to know, oh, I know about Anna's stuff, but I don't know anything, like what about tea? To sort of create like a chamber or a network, however that would work, to push our work together, so that once again, I do all the marketing I can. I've learned how to use Instagram now. But I think there's a lot we could do in a bigger way to support each other. So that would be my idea, the chamber of purpose.
Definitely. I love that idea. You always bring it up and I always love it. And definitely just getting the word out. I'm sure you guys, most of you do already, but even if, somebody new like that comes into your life, just spreading the word about our businesses and about sustainability in general. I think the bigger picture is for everyone to start, being more conscious of their purchases. It's not just about like just Anna's business or just Sandra's business, but in general, like just being more conscious. So spreading the word about all the small businesses and teaching people little ways to be more sustainable in their lives, because there's this one quote I love about zero waste, and I think it's like we don't need how does it go? Hold on. Okay,
Yeah.
we don't need a handful of people doing zero waste perfectly. We need millions of people doing it imperfectly. So I think just like rippling off, and I think that's the purpose of Sandra and our business, is to ripple off to you guys so that you can ripple off to others.
And I also, want to take, place a shout out too for SEG. I think you do wonderful promotion, of us. Every time you hear some good news, you tend to repeat it, So I think that's I really appreciate the infrastructure at SEG, highlighting us and supporting us at every turn. I really appreciate that. I wouldn't be famous if it wasn't for you.
Definitely, we really appreciate all the support from SEG.
Yeah, we really do. We really do.
We so appreciate all the work the two of you are doing to making better choices more accessible and easier to find things that have a good impact. So with that, I'd love to open it up to everybody on the call. If any of you have questions, feel free to just unmute and jump in.
Meg asked the question on the chat. And I believe she was talking about the apps that I spoke of for shopping. I have a couple. I've used Buycott before. It's BUYCOTT. And if you're in the grocery store, you can scan the barcode of a product, and it'll tell you if how, I think it gives you a grade from A to F, how ethical the product is.
Wow.
It doesn't have everything in store, but it has a good amount of products.
Great.
Wow.
Yeah.
One question that I had for someone that is definitely not as far along in their sustainability journey as they'd like to be, what are maybe some of like the entry point steps? Like you mentioned, I think some really great suggestions for kind of gift giving, but I wonder just more generally, as you're trying to be, how did you put it on imperfectly zero waste? If there's any sort of things that are maybe are lower bar, but like big impact, if you have any recommendations.
I would say definitely planning ahead. I think a big part of zero waste or trying to lower your waste is just always thinking one step ahead of anything. So packing, utensils, having your coffee mug ready, having a water bottle. All of those little things will help you reduce your waste for sure. If you're going to the grocery store, bringing reusable, what are they called?
Bags?
The mesh bags, the reusable mesh bags. So it's hard, but it becomes a habit to like have them in your car or have them in your bag. So I think that's one step to help you like lower your waste. But in terms of sustainability or like lowering your carbon footprint, I would say shooting towards things like maybe having less meat, eating less meat, or just trying to have a vegan diet, even if it's once a week or twice a week, just giving yourself goals, because that definitely has a big impact on the environment. And driving your car less, or saying like, hey, today I'm going to ride my bike to work instead of, I know a lot of us are home, so there's no riding cars to work, but those are little tips that I can give you. I hope that was helpful.
Definitely, thank you.
Yeah.
No problem.
Those are all good. Those are all good.
Thank you.
And Anna and I are talking about putting together a sort of a beginner box
Yeah.
on zero waste and sustainability, using her products and some of the other products that I use, that would help people, think about, resealable plastic bags, sandwich bags, so you don't have to keep using and then throwing away the Ziploc bags. There's so much out there that helps you in this way. So those are all good.
It's definitely like about where trash is created. So if you see that you're buying a lot of coffee and to go trash, throwaway containers, then you know, oh, I should get myself a reusable coffee mug. So maybe doing a trash audit, or just checking yourself and seeing where you're throwing this trash. You can start there.
That's a great idea. And I think there's a lot of challenges out there too, like a zero waste challenge. You can do like a 30-day program where every day they ask you to make a little bit of a change of your habit, and then to try to continue it. So there's a lot of those around. Those are kind of fun. Those are kind of fun to do.
Definitely.
I was just wondering if you have any resources for finding like food in bulk, like produce or snacks that have less plastic packaging in Rhode Island specifically, or online maybe.
So I know this website's called literally.com, and usually have like a directory that shows you where to buy bulk products near you. But we all know Rhode Island is super small. So there's only a couple of options when it comes to like buying bulk in Rhode Island. And then with the pandemic, like Whole Foods shut down a lot of their bulk section, and so did Urban Greens. So I would say like maybe shoot more towards like making your own snacks. I mean, if it's accessible to you and if you have the time for it, or just buying things in containers that you're gonna reuse. For example, if you're buying like trail mix, I'll usually try to find the big one that comes in a plastic container, because I know I'm gonna reuse that plastic container, versus if it comes in like the bags, I know I'm just gonna throw that away. So try shooting for containers you're gonna reuse, things that are made of glass, or that are in paper bags. So I think that would kind of be my advice in terms of that. But really, like, for me, it's still a challenge to be low waste in the kitchen. It's not easy. So I try not to be hard on myself about it, because I try to, in the areas that I am doing better in. But hopefully one day, like, we're a big grocery store and have bulk everything.
That would be great.
I know, that's a goal for sure.
Where can we find your products? Where should we go to get your products?
If you're local, then go to the Heel Room. It's located at 574 Smithfield Ave, Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And we're open Wednesday through Sunday from 12 to 6.
Yeah, we don't have any concrete place you can go to, but we are trying to think about putting our boxes in some retail stores this year, so that people can see what our products are like. So we're working on that. But, visit our website. Yeah, and then of course support all the local businesses we support. That's the best thing. Order from Salida Soap and Black Leaf Tea and Pioneer, and all the local businesses we try to support.
I've got a question about kind of the psychology behind helping people change their habits. Anna, you were talking about earlier about people who were struggling just with the idea of having a Brita filter. So I'm wondering, like, how much do you think about, your customer, your end user? And it sounds like you have a pretty good idea of how people are thinking and how hard it is to change habits. So like, what, from the point of view of running a small business, like, how much education are you able to do, and like reaching out to people and encouraging them to think a little bit differently about what they do every day? It's kind of like a psychology problem.
Yeah.
And I was also thinking, like, kind of connected to that, is how often people have an easier time changing habits if they're doing it with others. So you're kind of helping each other do a new thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think this question can be both for both me and Sandra, because you know, Sandra, you have products too that are not, people don't know, people don't normally like buy them for other people. They would rather buy something that's, you know, fast and easy and cheap. But I think like, I don't know the full answer to that question, but I would say that I do think about the people that I want to target. But I also need to find a balance between the people that are willing to make the sacrifice, and then the people that are, you know, I want to be a little bit more spoiled, if that makes sense. So people that kind of don't want to like go out of their way to be zero waste. So I always want to like make it as super convenient for everyone as possible, but it's not always possible because the truth is that, you know, being sustainable or shopping ethical and stuff is not always the most convenient, you know, answer. So I try to kind of have a balance of both. I'll think about like people that I grew up with, sadly, like people that I grew up with, or like even my friends and family, like they're not really into like any of this stuff. So I always have them in mind. I'm always like, okay, like how can I make it so which product are they more likely to buy? But also like, because if it's convenient, then everyone is going to want to buy it, including them and including the people that are willing to make the sacrifice. But also if I can't, you know, if I can't, then I'm still going to provide something that's less inconvenient, but it's for the greater good, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if my answer makes sense.
It's like a balance, like that.
Yeah.
You constantly have to walk.
Definitely finding the balance, but I always have like the people that I know in mind. I'm like, oh, are they gonna want to buy this? But definitely I agree with doing it with someone is better. And so that's why I think like when people walk into the store, me and Karen are just like, hey, like we want to be as friendly as possible and make them feel like we want we just don't want your money. We want you to do better for yourself, and we want you to do better for the planet. And I think like people listen to us and they see us, and we kind of relate to them, and it makes them want to change their habits. So this is something that I see with my friends, like when they hear me talking about it, like, you know, at first they thought I was crazy and that I was like, you know, they would make fun of me, but now they'll actually send me a picture like, hey, I just use my reusable water bottle instead of you know. So it's definitely like having that bond of friendship, like not just with my friends but with anybody that walks into the store, and making them feel like I want to show you, I want to teach you, and I want you to like know why this is better for you and why this is better for our planet. So relating to everyone and challenging people in a friendly way.
That's like so well said, because I do think, you know, even those of us, you know, who try to be like really excellent on these issues, there's always somebody who's doing it a lot better, you know. So I think to create an atmosphere which is sort of like a judgment-free zone, but a learning opportunity. Oh, I could do this. I didn't know. Had no idea. I think you're right. It's just constant like education and development, and as you just said so beautifully, welcoming people into the community. You know, and understanding, as you said, it's a journey. You know, it's such a journey. So we're all learning, and as Karen said, we learn from each other.
Yeah, and just showing people like I'm not perfect. Like, yeah, I have a zero waste store, but like I was telling Maddie, like I still have to buy some things in plastic, and that doesn't make me a bad person. That just means that I have no choice.
Yes. Yeah.
We are out of time, but thank you both so much. And we're so excited to go poke at both of your websites and explore what to get for the holidays for people like Matt who are late on getting their holiday gifts. Yeah, thank you guys. And thank you to everybody for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.